Quakecon, the biggest annual LAN party created by id Software back in the 90s, happened over this last weekend, and it's been the home for not only id Software announcements, but even Bethesda as well. Well, now that they're both owned by Microsoft, we might even see some Microsoft announcements in the future. Anyhow, I ran a poll a few weeks ago asking the community here, what juicy surprise announcement would Nightdive Studios make at this year's Quakecon? Well, apparently we were all wrong. We all were hoping for a Doom 3 remaster or even a Quake 3 Arena remaster, but instead, we actually got an absolute cult classic in a remaster of Heretic plus Hexen. All news articles sourced for this video will be linked down in the description below. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. It's greatly appreciated. Let's get into it. So if you're a fan of old school boomer shooters, then you probably know the name Nightdive Studios. They have been on an absolute tear when it comes to remastering classic shooters like Doom 1, Doom 2, Quake 1 and Quake 2, System Shock, and many more. Well, they've done it again, and this time they're doing it with another collaboration with id Software, and this time it's with Heretic plus Hexen. And it seems like they've been following sort of an annual pattern of doing a shadow drop at Quakecon every year for these last couple years. That means it's already available on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, as well as on PC. And it's also a part of Xbox Game Pass. Additionally, if you already own these games, then you get the remaster for free. That's pretty awesome. They did this with the classic Doom games as well as Quake, and it's great that they are continuing that tradition. And here's the best part. This isn't just some simple re-release. Nightdive packed this remaster with new features that completely modernize the experience without losing any of the original magic. See what I did there? We're talking full 4K resolutions with a buttery smooth 120 frames per second, so long as your hardware can support it. They've also added some crucial quality of life improvements that just make sense for 2025, like widescreen support, a weapon carousel for faster weapon switching, and modern controls, as well as gyro aiming. And for all of my fellow lore nerds and art appreciators, they've even added an in-game Raven Vault with a ton of behind-the-scenes content like concept art, unused sprites from the original development. Seriously, Nightdive Studios, they love creating amazing remasters for classic games, so kudos to the team. But the upgrades don't stop there. Nightdive and id Software, they didn't just polish the old. They did some rebalancing, polish work on the art and the levels, and even added new content. In the original Heretic, the weapons always felt a little on the weak side, which resulted in the enemies feeling a bit bullet spongy. They took way too many hits to kill. The remaster makes a pass to fix all of this, and the action as a result feels better. It's faster. It's more immediate. It feels much closer to Doom, the classic Doom games, which is appropriate for these games because this was the era of Doom clones. It's fast action shooting, but instead of guns, you're using wands and magic spells in a dark fantasy world. And like I said earlier, the remaster also includes 2 all-new episodes, one for each game. You have Heretic, Faith Renewed, and Hexen, Vestiges of Grandeur. That's a ton of brand new content for not only veterans returning to the series, but even for new players coming into this fresh. Nightdive crafted these new episodes in a way that feels true to the classic games. It feels very much in place with all of the other original levels. It's that 90s sensibility of design that was sort of limited by the capabilities of hardware at the time. Also, do you remember how Hexen was a class-based game and you had to pick either a fighter, a mage, or a cleric and stick with that class from beginning to end? Well, you can actually now switch between these classes mid-game. Hexen uses a hub-based level system where there's a hub that connects to multiple levels, right? Each of these hubs now has this interactable object called the Magic Tome, or Magic Tome. It completely changes the way that you approach these levels now. Being able to switch your class depending on the levels and the monsters that you're fighting. One class might be better than the other. And also, we can't forget to talk about multiplayer. It's back and it's better than ever. You can now play online with cross-platform play. So regardless of where your friends are playing this game, you can link up with them and play in deathmatch or cooperative game modes. And if you miss the days of local couch co-op gameplay, they've included split-screen co-op for up to 4 players. And in particular, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC, can support up to 8 players on one screen. That's wild. And last but not least, if you are a fan of remix retro gaming music, well, they have a special treat for you. The game includes a beautiful remaster of both soundtracks for both games, done by the legendary Andrew Hulshult. He's the same guy who did the music for Doom Eternal's Ancient Gods DLCs, as well as plenty of other sort of retro boomer shooter games. Check out these samples from the soundtrack. What a legend. It still baffles me why id Software didn't go with Andrew for Doom the Dark Ages. Anyhow, you can of course toggle the music from the remastered soundtrack to the original MIDI tracks if you'd like, and that actually goes for all of the new gameplay enhancements. There are options to turn all of that off if you want to go for a classic version of this game. So this is the part of the video where I go over my final thoughts, and I actually have to admit that I did not play Heretic or Hexen back in the 90s. I grew up playing Doom and Quake. I saw the ads for both of these games in magazines and comic books, and I really wanted to play them, but you know, as a teenager without a job, I had no way of buying these games myself. So anyhow, here we are, it's 2025, and I am now able to access these games on modern hardware, and it has been great. I put in about 3 hours in the game. I've played Heretic mostly because I want to play through that first before moving on to Hexen, kind of experience the games in proper order. But I did hop into Hexen for a little while before making this video, so that way I could be a little more informed on the differences between the two. And from what I can tell, like, the original developers of these games were Raven Software. Heretic definitely feels more like a Doom clone. It's, you know, the weapons are swapped out for magic weapons instead of guns, and even the level design feels very much like a Doom game. Hexen, on the other hand, though, feels like the team finally understood how to work with the Doom engine, and the level designs are top-notch. Just everything's dialed up to an 11. There's tons of like level triggers, just, you know, floors colliding down, walls opening up. There's just a lot more going on in Hexen, and I think the hub-based level system works extremely well. I've heard stories that in the past, it was hard to figure out what you needed to do next, because each of these different levels off of the hub had switches you needed to flip in order to open doors in other areas, and you could be doing a lot of backtracking, running circles, not knowing what to do. They have added markers on the map, which really help out a lot, and I found myself actually using them, so I'm very thankful for all of these new features in this remaster, even being able to play it on my ultra widescreen. Something I tried to do in the past before the remaster, because I bought these games on a Steam sale, but they just don't handle very well. You know, trying to remap things. I could have downloaded like GZ Doom and ran Heretic or Hexen in that custom engine, but I just chose not to. But anyhow, honestly, like, this remaster is just another absolute banger from Nightdive Studios. They've taken two influential genre-defining classics that pushed the limits of the Doom engine back in the 90s, and they've made them accessible today in 2025. This is going to help for any new players to this series, build a brand new audience, and it's also going to give longtime fans, veterans of this series, a reason to hop back in and experience the games all over again. With all the new content, the multiplayer options, and quality of life improvements, this is truly the definitive way to experience these games today. So what do you think? Are you ready to dive back into the dark fantasy worlds of Heretic and Hexen? Are you an old veteran coming back to the series, or are you a brand new player experiencing all of this for the first time? Sound off in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more great gaming content. And if you're looking for more, check out this recommended video right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.